So now the IRS is starting to double the total workforce, and they're trying to hire 87,000 new employees and IRS revenue agents. Hi, my name is Pascal Manigat, and you're watching the Financial Ownership Podcast. So President Biden has requested that he wants to increase the audit force or increase the entire IRS workforce. And right now the number is around 80,000 IRS employees. But in addition to those 80,000, what they're trying to do now is make it 87,000 extra IRS revenue agents and employees to audit people to find out things about people who are trying to do things illegally with the tax code, and just be more strict in people who are trying to avoid certain taxes, and just making sure people pay their taxes essentially. So one thing when it comes to IRS, take them seriously, because they do have the potential to take your stuff away. So it's really important that whenever you get any type of notice, whether you're running a business or even if you're just working for a company and you haven't properly filed your taxes or whatever it is, or you delayed doing that, it's important to make sure you take them seriously and keep in mind that you have to, or keep your taxes organized in a way that you could pay the taxes that you have to pay, and potentially make sure that you're taking advantage of things in the tax code so you don't have to overpay in taxes. So file every year and just make sure that you keep yourself organized, and make sure that before the tax year is over that you get all your stuff in, so you don't have to worry about missing potential tax documents or financial documents in the future. You know, I usually ignore a lot of what politicians say on a daily basis, but when they say the IRS is going to double its entire workforce, that's kind of insane. So it really caught my attention. I wanted to learn a little bit more about it. So now revenue agents are looking for people that are like trying to illegally avoid taxes, or there's certain taxes they didn't pay, and they're trying to get a total of 7 trillion. The objective is to get 7 trillion within the next decade from people who may not have paid certain taxes and avoided paying certain taxes that they should have paid. So this is all because of the free stimulus and all the different types of debt and inflation that's been printed into the system. So basically the IRS wants to get all that money back that they gave away. So that's where that 7 trillion figure comes from. They say that it's going to be mostly, the money is going to come from the wealthy people, but I disagree with that, and I'm actually going to go on and tell you a little bit on why I do. But let's start with the good things about it. So there's a lot of things like offshore scams and like cryptocurrency scams where people can't necessarily track exactly what's happening with different types of things with the Coinbase accounts of cryptocurrencies. And obviously there's no shortage of people that try to cheat the system and actually try to avoid taxes in a legal manner. So the good thing is these people are going to be more likely to get caught, because there are more IRS agents that are going to be aware or cracking down on a lot of those people that are doing those unethical and illegal practices of trying to avoid taxes in a legal way. The bad thing, I think, is they say the 7 trillion is going to come from the wealthy. Well, the thing is, when it comes to the largest corporations, they're experts in avoiding taxes legally, so it's really hard to try to find what the corporations are doing wrong and all those type of things and try to get money from them, because not only do they already have expert accountants, legal teams, and all these things to make sure they're in compliance for the most of the time, but the thing is, a lot of these companies get audited and it's hard to get money from them already. So the thing is, if they can't get money from the wealthy people, or they can't get enough money, that 7 trillion that they're trying to get from wealthy people, where is the money going to come from? Probably going to come from smaller businesses, 1099, S-Corp, maybe some LLC people that have smaller businesses that might not have been as compliant with the tax code, because maybe there are people that just try to avoid taxes illegally, but at the same time, a lot of people aren't familiar with the tax code and they're not sure how to file and do certain things. So just because they're behind the taxes doesn't necessarily mean that they're purposely trying to do it. It just means they don't know better, right? But nonetheless, the IRS really doesn't care. They're trying to make sure that everyone stays compliant, and they're trying to get as much money as they can from people that aren't paying their taxes on time and things of that sort. And another potential place they might be getting money are from people's retirement accounts. There's over $13 trillion in the US in terms of retirement accounts that people put their money in. So this is why a lot of times I talk about the danger of using a traditional 401k or in a traditional IRA, is because there's a lot of tax risk associated with it. Because the US is in things like all-time debt, they have a bunch of unfunded liabilities, and it doesn't look like they're on any track to spend any less than they are right now. So the thing is that what the IRS might be doing to cover things like the $7 trillion that they're trying to get is increase taxes on retirement accounts. It hasn't been happening yet, but this is something that could happen. So it's really important to understand that if you have a traditional 401k or a traditional IRA, the tax risk associated with it and the potential that taxes might raise, especially considering the situation that the US is in. And this doesn't even consider, that 13 trillion doesn't even consider some of the other asset classes like pensions and things like that that people have that are taxable accounts that are gonna get taxed in the future, which could potentially be more revenue that the IRS can get if they just increase taxes over time. And if you look at taxes right now, they're at historical lows, so there's a good chance that taxes could be getting higher because it looks like the US is on the trend where they're trying to crack down and get more tax revenue dollars. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Originally, what the government wanted to do is crack down on businesses with transactions of $600. They want to track down on every single $600 transaction, which is actually kind of ridiculous that you, when you think about it. And thank God that hasn't actually came into fruition and actually get passed as law, and it ended up getting rejected. So the $600 transaction would have been a terrible thing for small business owners and actually any business in general if you have to audit every single $600 transaction, or you have to review every $600 transaction with the goal of trying to find out ways where you can take more tax money from businesses. In my opinion, I would say this is probably another example of the government's poor decision making. The thing is, they could use, rather than trying to hire more agents to try to take or try to investigate businesses more, what they should do is try to find ways to help small businesses become compliant with tax law and make the taxes or help them with the tax process so it's simple for them. So rather than focusing on all these different types of tax law and running their business, which obviously when you think about it, if you have a business to run, you have products to sell or a service to sell, and you have to think about taxes and all that type of stuff, sometimes it can be overwhelming. But I think a better direction would be for the government to show these small businesses how to be more tax compliant, so this way the small businesses can generate more revenue, which is going to, at the end of the day, be more beneficial to the IRS at the same time, which I think would be a win-win for both sides, because the businesses will be making more money, and then obviously when they make more money, the IRS gets more tax revenue dollars. But that's not what happened. They're deciding to hire 87,000 new IRS revenue agents and representatives. So I think that's kind of insane in my opinion. So just one thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure that you're extra compliant now and make sure your taxes are clean, so the IRS can't get any of their hands on any of your assets or any of the things that you might not have filed correctly. You just want to put extra attention to making sure that you're staying compliant with the tax law, because from now on, it's going to end up becoming more strict, and the IRS is going to be looking for ways to take money from not only big businesses, they're going to be looking for ways to get it from smaller businesses as well, even S-corps and LLCs and things of that sort. And now it's going to be more important to look at assets that have more tax-preferred treatment. And the thing is, like I was saying in the beginning, the tax risk when it comes to traditional 401ks and IRAs is starting to get higher and higher as the environment of the US is starting to change a little bit, and they're looking for more tax revenue dollars. So honestly, I think if you're looking for ways to have more tax effective assets, things like real estate, cash value life insurance, Roth accounts. These are all things that you could implement into your financial strategy, which is going to give you more tax preferred treatment later on. So when the IRS or the government decides to raise taxes on you, it doesn't have as much of an effect on you because your assets are in vehicles that are tax free, and the government can't get their hands on it no matter what things they change in the tax code. And these things are going to be more and more important to include in your financial strategy going forward. And I actually make plenty of videos on different types of financial strategies that are tax effective, where you could legally avoid taxes and pay or give the IRS the least amount of taxes you legally can. And I'll have some videos at the end that you could click on if you want to learn more about different types of strategies like that. So if you found some value in this video, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. I post videos like this every single week. So if you found some value, feel free to either contact me if you have some financial questions or leave a comment below. In the description below, there's a link to my link tree. You can click on it. It's pretty simple if you want to get in contact with me. Thank you.